Hello, my name is Meg, and today we're going to be building bags for big groups in Blood on the Clocktower. Yes, I have already done this before, but exactly one person asked me to do it for bigger player counts, so I'll be doing it for bigger player counts for the 3 base scripts, and I thought that at the end, for an extra little special treat, I could put some custom scripts into the program and show you how I would build a bag for a custom script that I have never seen before. Always remember that your main consideration with balancing Trouble Brewing is your townsfolk. You want to balance learners and doers. Our learners are mostly in this top row, and then our doers are in the second row, except the Ravenkeeper is a learner, but they are fairly unlikely to learn. And the first 4 here are known as the top 4, and they start knowing information. We've reached 3 minions, and for Trouble Brewing, you don't have to worry about it. Any combination is great. First, of course, we are going to have our imp. Then we have 3 minions. We have 0 outsiders, so probably everybody would expect that we put a Baron in. I'm actually not going to put the Baron in, and we will give an outsider bluff to our evil team so that they can say, oh, there must be a drunk, which will be very helpful for them to doubt people's information. And also the Spa can have whatever bluff that they want. Let's do Mayor, Soldier, Monk, and Virgin. Undertaker, Empath. Librarian could be interesting with 0 outsiders. The Poisoner might get lucky. Or the Spy could register as an outsider. Ooh, maybe let's do that. No outsiders are a little scary. But you have to do it sometimes. Whenever you have 0 outsiders, if you always put the Baron in, they're gonna know that about you. Our chef's gonna get a 1. I was kind of expecting them to all be in a line like last time, so thank dog. We don't know what our Poisoner's gonna do. Obviously, we'll give a chef a 1 if the Poisoner doesn't hit them. Ooh, our Empath is sitting next to an evil, which might just be tough techies for them. I'm going to pull a little bit of a sneaky sideways here. My Spy is going to register as an outsider to the Librarian. They are going to register as the drunk, and I'm going to show the Librarian that between the Spy and the Empath, one of them is the drunk. This might help our Scarlet Woman for a little bit, it might not, but the Empath could also beat the Spy to it and nominate the Virgin, and then the Empath will die, and it'll show that they're not drunk. So it sort of depends on how your players play. A lot also hinges on our Poisoner and who they choose. And remember that the Spy will see this so they can plan accordingly. For me, bluffs depend on player experience. If they are a newer player, I will give them easier things to bluff. For this one, I gave Saint, Fortune Teller, and Ravenkeeper. And of course, the Spy can choose anything that they want. And that is our 13-player game. 14 players, of course, we're doing the Imp again. And I am going to add the Baron in this time, so we'll have 3 outsiders. Although Town loves to execute the Butler and the Recluse, I am going to save the Recluse in case we need a bluff that would help out evil. So for our You Start Knowing, we have the Washerwoman and the Investigator. We have the Empath and the Fortune Teller for our main Every Night learners, and we have the Ravenkeeper as well. And then our doers are the Monk, the Slayer, and the Soldier. And remember, one of these is going to be drunk. Ooh, okay. As soon as I don't put the chef in, nobody's sitting next to each other. Ooh, Empath next to Poisoner, not good. So let's not confirm the Empath. Let's confirm instead. Let's confirm the Soldier. And people are probably going to execute the Butler and then the Scarlet Woman. Oh no, not a good placement for the Empath. I don't know about other people's groups, but I've noticed that my Fortune Tellers almost always will pick their neighbors as their first choice. So I'm going to be mean and I'm going to make the Red Herring the Ravenkeeper. Everybody is going to know that the Baron is in play almost immediately because the Saint and the Butler are going to come out. So it feels kind of cheap to confirm to the Investigator that there is a Baron in play. But unfortunately, our Poisoner is next to the Empath, so they're going to be gone immediately. Our Scarlet Woman is very close to the Empath, and the Butler is probably going to be executed fairly quickly. Usually, I would think it's like a little bit boring for the Investigator, like, oh, I know one of these 2 is the Baron, but we already definitely know there's a Baron because of our outsiders. Maybe that's a bit boring. But our Empath is so close to our other 2 minions that I don't want to give them any extra help there. So the Investigator will be shown that there is a Baron between... I'll make the Slayer the wrong one. If they are under suspicion, they can just use their shot, get lucky, or clear someone. Ugh, see, I could give the Recluse to the evil team as a bluff and the Poisoner could use it, but then Town is just going to execute them anyway. So it's like, what's the point? Which is also why I like our bootlegger rule that the Recluse, if executed day 1 or 2, evil wins. Because at least they stay alive for a bit longer. But I'll give it to them anyway. And let's do Undertaker. Coolio. That is our 14-player game. 15 players, of course, you're doing the Imp, Spy, Baron, Poisoner. We get 2 outsiders, which means we're going to have all 4 outsiders. Okay, so I've got the Mayor and the Slayer and the Virgin as our doers. I've got the Raven Keeper as our maybe learner, and then the Fortune Teller and the Undertaker as our main learners, and the Chef and the Librarian as our You Start Knowing. And one of these people will be drunk. Not our chef sitting between evil. We could give our chef a 0, because there's a spy. So we could give the chef either a 0 or a 1. I would probably give it, maybe if there was a brand new player in a group of veterans, I might give them a 1. But it's always nice to give the spy the ability. And these aren't real players, so I'm probably gonna give the chef a 0. Shame. Ooh, I did forget that we put in the recluse, so we could actually give our chef a 1, and the recluse would probably say, hey, it might be my fault. So then that would put suspicion on their neighbors. So use your best judgment, do what you think is the best thing. It would be kind of funny to make our chef drunk and we give them a 2. That's something you could do. You could make your chef drunk and you could give them a 2. I don't think I'm gonna do that, but you could. We could make our mayor drunk, and I know people don't like that. I know that they prefer to make it someone who is an every night learner, and I agree. I prefer to do that as well. It kind of sucks if you only have a once per game type thing and then turns out you're a drunk. But I don't want any of my players to ever think that they are completely safe from being the drunk, so you have to do it sometimes. I genuinely can't decide, so I'm gonna do the Raven Keeper. Let's make the mayor the red herring. Librarian. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time making a decision right now. You could do anybody. I'm going to do the butler. And I'm going to say that this is correct. Poison are the wrong one. For bluffs, I've done Monk, Empath, and Investigator. Hopefully your Imp will sink a kill if they decide to bluff Monk. And I think that that is it. So that is our 15-player game. We're going to jump to 18 players so we can have 3 travelers. Now the suggested travelers for Trouble Brewing are here. We've got Thief, Bureaucrat, Gunslinger, Beggar, and Scapegoat. Yes, you can use any traveler you like, especially because we have some. So these are from the carousel. Ooh, so you could throw in some player changes into your Trouble Brewing game. I wouldn't suggest doing that if you have a new group or if you are a new storyteller, but that would spice things up a lot. So we're gonna do it. You can technically use any traveler. I will say I've used the Bone Collector a lot in all editions because it was the first traveler that I was exposed to when I first started playing this game. So it was like a comfort traveler for me. So I think Bone Collector works great with anything. The Gangster is kind of similar to the Gunslinger, so I would say that the Gangster would work well in Trouble Brewing. I think the Apprentice works fine in Trouble Brewing as well. I think the Judge could work fine too. I don't know if the Vodun would work super great. Obviously you can use the Deviants, you could use the Bishop. The Butcher, you could use the Butcher. Personally, I think you could really use any traveler. I probably wouldn't use the Barista in Trouble Brewing because I think there's not really enough misinformation to make that the best option, but that's just me. Some of these to me depend more on player experience. I wouldn't use the Harlot with non-experienced players. I would not use the Cracklejack, not Crackle. Cacklejack, but the Cacklejack is very interesting. I think that would be a great traveler for experienced players in Trouble Brewing. I don't think that would be a great character for new players. Also, you can and should let your traveler choose which traveler they want to be, but you don't have to give them every option if you don't feel comfortable running it. Like the Bishop is kind of hectic. If you don't want to run that, just don't give that as an option. People like the Gunslinger, so I'm going to do that one. Remember that any players after 15 will be travelers, so when you build the bag, it is like you are building a bag for 15, which we've already done, so I'm just going to do this real quick. The Spy works perfectly well with travelers. Just remember that they will know if the traveler is good or evil. Oh my goodness, there's so many. Travelers good or evil, it kind of depends on the player. If I have a player who never gets a chance to be evil, then I might make them evil. For this one, I don't think the Cacklejack and the Gunslinger should be on the same team, because that would be very strong. So let's make the Gunslinger evil, and let's make the Cacklejack good. Good. And our Thief can be also good. Let's make the Undertaker drunk. I think it can be good to show an evil player as the wrong one in a drunk ping for the Librarian, because I think people are expecting that to usually happen between 2 good players. Why don't we do a Spy tang? I don't love locking my Spy into a bluff. It sort of depends on who the player is. The Chef is not in play, so for the Washerwoman, I'll show them that between the Spy and the Fortune Teller, one of them is the Chef. For bluffs, I've done Saint, Investigator, and Mayor, and that is our 18-player game. Bad Moon Rising, we're going to start with 13 players. The main consideration in BMR is death and protection. We don't want too much death without enough protection, and we don't want too much protection without enough death. We don't want our game to be too fast or too slow. For our minions, any combination works. We just want to worry about how much death is happening from both the good team and the evil team. The Poe can kill 3, but we are going to have protection, so you never know if they're going to get all 3. Our Godfather adds 1 outsider. Let's do the Moonchild. For protection, let's do the Fool and the Tea Lady and the Sailor. Plus that will add some misinformation. Let's do the Minstrel. So for death, we have the Poe, we have the Godfather, we have the Moonchild, we have the Gambler. And then for protection, we have the Fool, we have the Tea Lady, which is not guaranteed, but you never know. And we have the Sailor. We also have the Exorcist who can stop the Poe from killing. Ooh, our Tea Lady gets to go off. That's nice. Cannot die. Cannot die. That is very strong for Exorcist. That's very good. For the Grandchild, as I've said before, I will usually pick that based on player. If there is a shyer player or a newer player, I will often make them the Grandchild to help get them included in the game. I will do the Fool though. With BMR, the biggest thing with bluffs is to pick a bluff that covers for the evil ability. For example, the Devil's Advocates can prevent execution, so you might want to consider giving them the Pacifist, the Tea Lady, or the Fool. We already have the Tea Lady and the Fool in play, so I give them the Pacifist. I'll also do the Gossip because there might be a lot of death at night, so that can help the evil team. The Moonchild is going to know that there's a Godfather in play because there shouldn't be any outsiders in this game, but there is. And then the Godfather will see the Moonchild token, so they'll know that there's a Moonchild, so they could bluff as a different outsider if they want. So for our demon bluffs, I'll give Pacifist, Gossip, and Innkeeper. And that's our 13-player game. For 14 players, let's do the Zomboul. We'll add in the Assassin to help the Zomboul get more kills maybe, and the Devil's Advocates, and we'll also put in the Godfather, and we will probably add an outsider. I don't know if I want a -1. I prefer to add. And let's do a Lunatic, and we'll do the Goon. With the Zomboul, I especially don't want to put the Courtier and the Exorcist together. You can do 1, probably don't do 2. Let's do a Professor. So the Zomboul sometimes doesn't get kills very quickly, so we've added in the Assassin and the Godfather to help them. We've done a Lunatic, so they're going to think they're the Zomboul. And then also we've done the Sailor and the Pacifist, so that can help the Zomboul get some kills. And I've also done the Gossip and the Gambler to throw in some more death. Ooh, our Lunatic's sitting next to the Demon. Shame. I think somebody commented last time that this is actually the Zomboul, so this needs to go Zomboul, and this needs to change to the Lunatic. I don't play online. Grandmother once again, I choose it based on player. Let's do Grandmother Gambler. And then let's do for bluffs, let's give Moonchild. I usually like to save the Pacifist for the Devil's Advocates, but once again, I don't want people to know that they will never be in the same game, so you do want to put them in the same game sometimes. I like to give something to my Zomboul that prevents death, so that if they don't get many kills, they can say that they're the Innkeeper and are protecting people. I'm actually going to change that to Tea Lady, so we've got Moonchild, Tea Lady, and Innkeeper for our bluffs. 15 players, let's do the Shab, let's do the Mastermind. We could do a Godfather in -1. We will save Professor for our Shabaloth bluff. Okay, let's think about this. So we've got the Shabaloth, which is a double kill, Assassin extra kill, Godfather extra kill, Tinker extra kill. Courtier can stop that, the Fool protection, Sailor protection, Innkeeper protection, and the Pacifist. We might have a lot. At this point, we're pretty much putting in every townsfolk. Ooh, Tea Lady is not gonna be happy about that. Shame. Grandmother, let's do the Chambermaid. For bluffs, of course, we're gonna give Professor. We are going to give Exorcist and Gossip. As for the outsiders, the Godfather is only gonna be shown 1, so they'll know that I -1, so they can bluff as whatever they want that isn't the Tinker. 18 players. These are the suggested travelers. Once again, let your players choose what travelers they want to be, but if you don't feel comfortable running something like the Bishop or the Vodun, just don't give them that option. I have used the Bone Collector in Bad Moon Rising. It was also a good one. I think Thief and Bureaucrat are perfectly fine in Bad Moon Rising. I feel like the Innkeeper going twice would be a lot for people that can't die, and I don't know how some of these would work going twice. I suppose you could just choose that they are sober for sure. The Harlots could be interesting because you won't necessarily know why they died, but it might be a lot if you have a bunch of other characters in your bag that already can kill. The Butcher could be interesting if it interacts with the Sailor or the Tea Lady or the Devil's Advocate. The Scapegoat could be interesting, but is it a good interesting or a bad interesting? Let's do the Bishop. We could also allow people to not move around. I think if I had If I had the Devil's Advocates in play, I would make the Scapegoat good. If I had the Pacifist in play, I would make the Scapegoat evil. I think I want the Scapegoat to be evil, and I want the Matron to be evil, and then the Bishop can be good. So because the Scapegoat's gonna be evil, we won't do the Devil's Advocates. Extra death, extra death, extra death with the Gossip, and then we've got protection from the Sailor, the Tea Lady, and the Fool, and the Pacifist, but we do have the Scapegoat that's gonna be evil. We want our Matron to be evil, we want our Scapegoat to be evil, and we'll make the Bishop good. People might exile the Bishop quickly, but my group is good about keeping those Travelers in for a bit so that we can at least have some fun with their abilities. Did I put in the Tea Lady? Ooh, Tea Lady, she's gonna go off. This is pretty good for evil, because the Pook and the Assassin are already next to each other, and the Godfather's next to an evil Traveler, so that's nice. And if you don't like the Matron, don't use them. I know that not being able to have private chats kind of sucks. Professor might be a dodgy bluff, but there's plenty of junkiness that they could blame it on, or say that they must have picked an evil player. And that is our 18-player game. More than likely, your Bad Moon Rising games are going to last a while, especially in a big group, so a good character to add is the Doomsayer Fabled. I don't know how to add Fabled. Add NPCs? Aha! The Doomsayer, if you don't know, if 4 more players live, each living player may publicly choose once per game that a player of their own alignment dies. That just exists to help your game go faster if you've got a lot of people. So that could be a good one to use, because I find that Bad Moon Rising is the edition that lasts the longest, but maybe that's just me. Now let's do Sects and Violets first for 13 players. We don't actually have to overthink balancing our SnV games, as most of the townsfolk are learners. The balance largely comes from the script's built-in mechanics, because we need to figure out which demon is in play in order to solve the game, especially with all this misinformation. So it's usually a little bit less serious than balancing BMR. If you're storytelling your first game of SnV, or if you have a new group of players, I suggest using the Nodashi, as it's the easiest one for new players to wrap their heads around. For newer players, I also prefer to explain madness to them, but I don't put madness in the first game. Use your best judgment. For our 13-player game, let's start with the Vortox, and let's put in the Witch, the Pit Hag, and the Serenovus. The only thing I'm going to worry about is some of our townsfolk are very good Vortox detectors, like the Flower Girl, the Oracle, the Dreamer, the Town Crier, the Juggler, so I don't want to put all of those in. Let's do Oracle, Snake Charmer, Philosopher, Seamstress, Mathematician, Savant. Like I said, we don't have to worry about it too much in SnV, and we're also putting in a lot of our townsfolk, so our Vortox is next to the Pit Hag, so for our Clockmaker, we can give them anything except a 1. I don't know, maybe a 3? I think a 3 sounds good. I'll make bluff choices based on player experience. It is more difficult to bluff something like the Dreamer or the Savant. It kind of depends on who the player is. I don't have players today, so I'm going to give Dreamer and Artist. I find that newer players like bluffing Artist. That is our 13-player game. For 14 players, we're going to have 1 outsider. Let's add an outsider with a Fangu. Evil Twin, Pit Hag, and Serenovus. We are adding an outsider. Let's do the Klutz and the Mutant. Yeah, let's do that. So we've got the Flower Girl, the Artist, the Juggler, the Mathematician, the Seamstress, the Philosopher, the Snake Charmer, and the Dreamer. I have said it before and I will say it again, I mostly base the Evil Twin, Good Twin on player. If my Evil Twin is a loud, outspoken player, I will pair them with someone who will match their energy. If I have a shyer player as the Evil Twin, I will pair them with someone who is similar in personality. I don't want to overwhelm my Evil Twin by giving them a Good Twin who is loud and forceful, and same as the opposite, I don't want to make the Good Twin someone who is quiet and shy if my Evil Twin is a loud, forceful player. I also don't want to put a veteran with a newer player. That sucks. If the newer player draws Evil Twin, I will try to give them a Good Twin that is of a similar experience level. If there is no one, I will give them my kindest veteran. And then on top of all of that, I try to give a character that's easy to bluff as. Making twins out of the Savant would be very mean, especially to a new player. I don't have players today, which makes this very difficult. I will make them twins with the Artist. Once again, it depends on how experienced my demon is. I would only give Savant to an experienced player. Let's do Town Crier and Oracle. And that is our 14-player game. 15 players, let's do Vigor Mortis. No, let's do an Odashi. 2 of our townsfolk are going to be poisoned, so we don't have to worry too much if we put in all the powerful ones. And our Pit Hag is slowly going to be changing things. Let's do Artist and Sage, Seamstress, and Mathematician. The Mathematician with the Nodashi is fun because of all the poison. Ooh, Poison Snake Charmer, Poison Sage. Yinna, that's not nice. Shame. I prefer to do Evil Twin with the townsfolk. You can do it with an outsider. Philosopher could be very interesting. If my evil twin was experienced, I could see giving them Philosopher. Then they can claim totally different things. If they were a newer player, I would consider Artist, Seamstress, or Clockmaker. Our Clockmaker is getting a 1, 2, 3, 4. For bluffs, once again, depends on player experience. I will give Klutz, I will give Savant if they were experienced, and I'll give Flower Girl. And that's 15 players. Let's do a big jump to 18. These are suggested travelers for SnV. Barista and Harlot are great choices for SnV. Obviously, these other three are as well, but I think that Barista and Harlot work best on SnV as opposed to the other scripts. What else can we use? I think Apprentice is fine. It's kind of like the Philosopher though. I don't know. I think the Beggar could be fine. Like I said, with all the player changes, the Cacklejack could be interesting. I have already used one for this video, so I'm gonna skip it. I think these two would be fine in SnV. Let's see, what can we do that would be interesting? Let's do the Barista. Let's do the Gangster. I would be concerned about the Vodun because of the Vortox. I'll say that. And again, I would let my players choose. Why don't we do the Gnome? What haven't we done? We haven't done a Vigor Mortis, so let's do that. We only get one outsider because we're minusing one. Let's do the Mutant? No, let's do Barber. Oh my goodness, we're putting in so many because we minused an outsider. Let's do the Artist. Oh, I didn't even think about who's going to be evil of our travelers. I personally think my group would think that I've made the Gnome evil, so I'm going to make them good. And let's make the Barista good, and let's make our Gangster evil. So day 1, they'll definitely kill off a good player. Day 2, they'll start knowing who the demon is, so they won't accidentally kill their demon. I think you could do either. It's fine that the Gangster is near evil players. They won't choose to kill the demon. That could be sus though. But the Gangster doesn't have to kill. So I think getting 2 kills if they manage to get rid of the Snake Charmer and the Philosopher, that'll be really good for evil. So I feel like many of my players wouldn't want to use the Gangster ability if they were good. Of course, you should make your Gangster good sometimes so that people don't always assume that the Gangster is evil. For bluffs, let's give Dreamer, Town Crier, and Sweetheart. I think that'll be good. If the Vigor Mortis kills one of their minions, then the minion can go, ooh, I was the Sweetheart, one of you is drunk. And that, my friends, is our 18-player SnV game. Let's see what custom scripts we could get. I think I've clicked on a few of these, but I don't really know them at all. Full credit to the creator of all these scripts, I did not make these. I uploaded this one, Hide and Seek, which I got from the Blood on the CLOCKTOWER website. I don't know what's on here. Let's do 12 players. I will say if you have 2 characters that should absolutely not be in the same bag, then they probably should not be on the same script. So when you have a custom script, if you make this horrendous bag and it literally ruins the game, then the script might not have been very good. I don't think you should be able to completely ruin a game just by how you built the bag. Even in BMR, you can make a not as great bag, but it shouldn't be game ending. Unless all your players happen to make tons of mistakes. I want to do an Oho game for funsies because we know these oaks. So let's do an Oho. We're gonna have an extra evil, so maybe I shouldn't add an extra kill for our Godfather. We do have the Oho though who could miss, but the Oho on a miss can actually kill multiple people. If you didn't already know that, then I'm glad I told you that. If they are not in play, the storyteller chooses who dies. It does not say only one, so the storyteller could choose multiple people if the Oho misses. And also, I do not punish Oho misses. Just because the Oho misses, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna kill the Raven Keeper now. The Oho miss is part of their ability, and the Oho is not an outsider. So why would I punish them for their ability? I don't think there's any other demons that have a punishment attached, so why treat the Oho's ability like it's a punishment? The Oho cannot kill based on social reads. Generally, the demon will want to kill someone who is not suspicious. They want to keep the suspicious players alive. The Oho could accidentally kill off the suspicious players, and that really sucks for evil. For example, the Oho might accidentally, let's say they choose to kill the Preacher, and the Preacher happened to be the most suspicious player in the game. That sucks for the Oho. So if an Oho misses, I take that opportunity to kill someone who is more trusted. I was ranting about the Oho for so long that it resets. Let's do Damsel Huntsman. That's fun. So let's see. We have some poison. We do also have the drunk on the script. We have quite a bit of misinformation here, which is good. The damsel is very good for the minions, so I'm also going to put in the Preacher, which is not good for the minions. Let's put in a You Start Knowing. Let's do the Noble. Our strong learners are the Dreamer and the Undertaker, so let's put in the Undertaker. I haven't seen the script. I did not make the script. I don't know its ins and outs. I'm doing my best. Oh my goodness, all of these oaks in a line. Noble. Let's do the Mazephiles. I don't want to do the virgin because the virgin can confirm themselves. They don't need extra confirmation from the noble so that they can narrow down their info. Let's do seamstress. Mutant's a little scary. Let's do the mutant. I think we'll do those 3 for bluffs. We'll do artist, town crier, and dreamer. And I hope that that was a good bag. This one has the Spirit of Ivory on it. That's a little scary. What is this one? Zephyles and Kazali and Fangu and Ogre. Oh my goodness me. I'm not gonna pick the Kazali because I don't know what the Kazali would do because we're not actually playing right now. Let's do a Fangu, which will add an outsider. So let's do Goon, Ogre, and Drunk. Yeah, I guess. And then let's do Spy and Poisoner. I don't want to do too many people that suffer from the Spirit of Ivory. As I've said before, the Spirit of Ivory, obviously use it if you need it, but I think it kind of sucks if you are the Goon, for example, and you should have switched, but you didn't because there was already an extra evil player. I prefer to just build scripts that don't need the Spirit of Ivory, but of course, it is there for a reason. We're already going to have a Drunk, so let's not put in the Village Idiots. Who are big learners? There isn't really like a bit. Oh, Fortune Teller. I didn't see that. I'm doing a Drunk. Okay, sorry, I had Recluse selected. I'm doing a Drunk. So we have a lot of alignment swapping, so the seamstress could be interesting. So I guess let's do that. I've added 1 strong roll and 6 ways to make it useless. So we can't set anything up except the Amnesiac, I think. Oh, Steward start knowing 1 player. Oh, and the Red Herring. Let's do Fisherman Red Herring. Oh, the Steward could start knowing the Spy. Oh no, that's so mean. Which is why we're gonna do it. My players might assume that I've made the Spy the good person, so let's make it the seamstress. Okay, Amnesiac ability. What should we do? A lot of people like to give the Amnesiac the most insane ability. You don't have to make it something crazy. I'm kind of thinking something like once per game, select a player, you and that player swap characters. And ooh, how about once per game, select a player. If good, you swap characters with them. So then the Amnesiac will get, you know, a new ability, and we will restart the Amnesiac because they will have become a new reiteration. Is that a good one? I think so. When I wake the Amnesiac, I would shrug my shoulders, which is how I would indicate to them, hey, this is a once per game, so use it wisely. Maybe ask a few questions first. They could swap with the Spy. Okay, so then their ability is once per game, choose a player. If good, you swap characters and alignments with them. Trust me, I've thought this through. I will not be explaining it. That's code for I haven't thought this through. Because I think the Amnesiac will be able to figure out what happened. Because they're going to, once per game, they're going to select someone, and then I'll put them to sleep and wake them up and be like, hey, this is who you are now. That I would probably have to think, I'm not actually playing this game, I'd probably have to think about that Spy interaction, but I think that's kind of funny. So I think that would be my Amnesiac ability. Usually you should make it something they can guess, so something that happens every night is going to be easier for them to piece together. I'm only willing to do a once per game thing because they will be able to figure out, oh, I've become something new. Oh, someone's supposed to be drunk. Oh, I forgot about that. Ooh, imagine you're the Amnesiac and you swap and become the Drunk. Oh no. Okay, maybe the Amnesiac ability has to be once per game, select a player if they are townsfolk, which could still mean that the Spy could swap with them. If you select a townsfolk, you swap characters, or it could be that they choose a townsfolk and then they gain that townsfolk's ability for a night and a day. Oh, this sucks. There's not a lot of good Drunk candidates. I guess we'll make it the seamstress. So we've got Snake Charmer, Knight, and Oracle for our bluffs, and that is our 12-player game for 1 in and 1 out by Baron von Klutz. This is, what is this? A Grim Chorus by Zets. The summoner may summon a Puka on the 2nd night instead of the 3rd. That summoner and Puka is very interesting. So then you'll want to wake the summoner on the 2nd night and find out if they're going to choose a Puka. I kind of do want to do a summoner, which means we don't select a demon, which means, what do we add? Remove the demon, add a townsfolk. Okay, that's what I figured. Along with our summoner, let's do a Scarlet Woman. Let's do a politician. The Golem. I know I say Golem, I'm sorry. Oh, there's no Huntsman on this script? Oh. That's okay. Misinformation, Innkeeper, because we're not gonna do a Drunk. Should we do the Drunk? Because we don't know who they're gonna choose here. Okay, hang on, I've changed my mind. Let's do an assassin so that they can hide the summoner. Okay, let's throw in some more misinformation. So let's not do a golem, let's do the Drunk. I think that's fine, because we don't have any other misinformation, if I'm not stupid. This bag was built with love, not for the players, but still. Let's make the town crier drunk so that they don't get too on the heels of our minions. I guess we'll make that one drunk, I don't know. For bluffs, let's do Golem Exorcist so that the summoner can hopefully use that. Yeah, that'll be good for spreading misinformation. Oh, we have to do the amnesiac. I mean, it could be as simple as each night you learn one not in play character. That would be fun. Or we don't have any you start knowing, so maybe it could just be as simple as they start knowing something. I usually show up with a bunch of amnesiac abilities in my back pocket so I don't have to think about it. And I haven't done that now. I think that could be an okay one, is show them a number, you start knowing, and it's how many steps you are to the nearest evil. Should we do one of my scripts? So this is a script I made, a little monster and one big one, which features the little monster and the Lord of Tarfin. Why is that grayed out? Oh, because... Sorry, duh, because it's not something you give to a player like that. I don't play online, I don't know how this website works. So I did make this script and I have two versions. I have not played the second version. I've played this one, but due to some suggestions from my players, I changed a few things. So I'll be using my second version. If it works, I'm a genius. And if it doesn't, it was an experimental design. I don't know what you're expecting. So we will have 3 minions and those will be selected when we get there. We just got to add a bunch of townsfolk and outsiders. Yeah, we can add whatever outsiders we want. So let's do 3. One of them will be drunk. Princess, Banshee, Washerwoman, Undertaker. I just add in so many because so many of them are going to be swapped out. But it is scary because we do not get to choose who gets swapped out. Ooh, okay, bye-bye Banshee. Man, I would be so sad if I was the Banshee and I became a minion because I want to be the Banshee. Let's take out their town crier. Let's make them a wraith. Grandmother, I'll give it to the monk. Grandchild. Let's confirm our Undertaker to our Washerwoman. And remember, these oaks will have a bluff built in for them, which is nice, whatever they had. I don't remember what they had, but those can be their bluffs. Oh, I don't know why that says dead. I don't know if we really need a drunk. Should we make our Oracle drunk? I don't remember what these minions had. You can give the same thing though, I think. Let's do that. Gossip, honestly, isn't the greatest pick for this script that I made because there's not that much extra... I mean, there's Godfather, there's Assassin. The problem is I love the Gossip, but I don't think it's the easiest character to put on a script. So that'll be my little monster and one big one. So yeah. The little monster. Yeah. I've gotten a few comments suggesting that I make a Discord server so that we can play Blood on the Clocktower online together. I don't know how to storytell online, but I would be interested in engaging with the community. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in joining and I can see if that's something that I can do. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!